Joining me now, Tyler Dragon of USA Today to talk about some NFL headlines. Tyler, let's start with the running back position. A lot coming out of this summer about whether or not the position is valued in today's NFL. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been a real hot topic of late, and I really think the position has been really devalued. You look across the league, whether it's Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, they were all vying for long-term contract extensions, and it really has not happened in the running back market. And that's based on a lot of different reasons. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, is the league is going towards a more passing league, and the running back position, they're finding out that they can draft owners and GMs are finding out that they can draft running backs in the later rounds, and they can be productive. You look at the situation that happened with the Kansas City Chiefs, and across the league it's going like that. So really the position's become devalued, and owners and GMs are finding out that they can replace their starting caliber running back with another running back on a rookie contract in the late to mid rounds in the NFL draft. And it's really a shame because you look across the league and these running backs, I can name a whole lot that have been very successful in the National Football League and are still really good in their teams. And if you look, they touch the ball the second most of any position outside of quarterback. So they really, really do need to be paid, in my opinion. But owners and GMs aren't really seen that way.
Their bodies take such a beating because it's such a physical position. Do you think that there's organized collusion on part of the owners and GMs to sort of come to this agreement that they're no longer going to value the position the way they maybe once did?
I wouldn't call it organized collusion. It's just the way the league is tracking right now. You look in recent years, they're not really paying running backs of high value. Ezekiel Elliott got paid a really good contract, and his contract was kind of like an albatross with the Dallas Cowboys in later years. The only running back that comes to mind that maybe a team isn't regretting that long-term deal after his rookie contract or maybe a third contract is Derrick Henry with the Tennessee Titans, and he's kind of an outlier of sorts. But when you look around the National Football League, I just hate to see it that a lot of running backs aren't getting that second and third contract, and they're getting franchise tag. And that's because of what I just said, because teams are believing that they can get a running back of equal value or even maybe a better production in the NFL draft on a rookie contract.
Do you think any mistakes were made in the most recent collective bargaining agreement in terms of protecting the position?
I don't think mistakes were made, but I can guarantee you the next collective bargaining agreement, the running backs and a lot of players, they're going to come to the table, especially with the running backs, and ask for shorter term rookie deals or the ability to be able to negotiate a new contract after that second season of a rookie deal. Because when you look at it, running backs are really a lot of times in their prime years on that rookie deal, and after that rookie deal you see their production kind of wane a little bit. So I can definitely see a scenario where the next collective bargaining agreement, which by sadly for running backs isn't until 2030, where they ask for them to be able to the ability to negotiate a new contract after that second season.
Let's take a specific example if we can. Jonathan Taylor and the Colts have seemingly reached an impasse in terms of where his value is. Jim Irsay has spoken publicly about not only the position, but his value. Where do things currently stand between the two?
Oh man, that's just another situation where it is getting messy, and it's all getting played out in a public eye. You hate to see that. Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay, they met on a bus during training camp, and I've heard from sources that Taylor has requested a trade and wants out. Jim Irsay has gone on Twitter, or what do you call it, X now, whatever it is now, that he is not going to trade Jonathan Taylor. But I don't really see this situation, them mending their fences anytime soon. I believe Jonathan Taylor deserves a new contract. You look at that Indianapolis Colts team, he is the offense, especially now that you have a rookie quarterback. You really need a solid running game and somebody that a young quarterback can hand the ball off to. So it's a messy situation. It's all getting played out in the public eye. I really do hope they're able to mend fences. And I'm on the side of the running backs again in this one too. I believe Jonathan Taylor deserves another deal.
Do you think at some point Irsay will be forced to grant a trade request for him if this continues to escalate?
Yeah, if he's disgruntled in Indianapolis, I do believe at some point Jim Irsay is going to have to bite the bullet and acquiesce to his star's trade demands. And he has 2 years remaining on his contract, so he doesn't want to let him go for nothing in a few years. So maybe you can trade him, and he does have some value. There are a lot of teams around the National Football League who do value Jonathan Taylor and would love to have him in the backfield.
Which teams come to mind for you for a potential landing spot?
Oh, man, I can name a lot. The Dallas Cowboys need a running back. The Buffalo Bills would do really well with Jonathan Taylor. A team like LA Chargers need a running game. They have a disgruntled running back of their own. The Miami Dolphins, there are a plethora of teams that could use a running back of Jonathan Taylor's caliber.
I wonder if those teams would also maybe be in the mix for a Dalvin Cook if he doesn't go to the Jets. Is that a scenario that you think is unfolding in the right direction, him heading to New York?
Yeah, I believe it's the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins for Dalvin Cook. Things are tracking in that direction. I know he just met with the New York Jets this past weekend. From what I've been hearing, that those meetings have went well. But he's from the Miami area. He lives in the Miami area, and he has flirted publicly with the Dolphins, and I know the Dolphins would love to have him too at the right price. So those two teams are the front runners, in my opinion.
How attractive is Miami for professional athletes? I mean, state taxes is obviously a draw, but you hear big name athletes from across the sports landscape, Dame Lillard, I mean, everyone seemingly wanting to land in Miami.
Yeah, there's no state taxes, and who doesn't love South Beach? You have the beach, the weather, great food, not to mention the nightlife. Miami is very attractive for professional athletes, just like the LAs of the world. That's where I'm from, so I'm biased. So, but Miami definitely. Who doesn't love South Beach?
Yeah, a little work-life balance that hopefully stays in balance for a professional athlete.
Right.
As you look around and we sort of get set for another regular season, which is coming fast, we've seen a significant amount of injuries in training camp already this off-season. Is there an adjustment that needs to be made in the next collective bargaining agreement about the ramp up to the regular season, or are you surprised to see the number of injuries that we've seen to some key players?
Well, it's really a little fewer injuries than recent years. I know that Joe Burrows of the world were injured, the Cooper Cup, but I haven't seen a lot of the huge ACL tears, the catastrophic injuries, the Achilles. Now, there's been a couple. There are always going to be some. I would love to see maybe a scenario where training camps actually start in August instead of late July. I think maybe the build up to the NFL season might be a little bit too long, especially when you compound that with mini camp and OTAs. So maybe starting in maybe August might be a better solution, but I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Do you think the players would be in favor of something like that?
Players don't like training camp. I can tell you that right now. Being out there in full pass, hot, it's humid in a lot of places. A lot of times you're in meetings all day, and then you have to go out to practice. You don't really get to see your family. A lot of players won't say that publicly, but training camp is not their most favorite time of the year. It is an important time, though. It is a ramp up to the season, but I definitely do believe that players would be in favor of shortening training camp a little bit.
You mentioned Joe Burrow. What's the latest on his calf injury? Is he in jeopardy of missing week 1 of the regular season at this point?
So there's optimism in Cincinnati that Joe Burrow will be available and full go by week 1. Bengals coach Zach Taylor did say he has a calf injury and said he is going to be out for several weeks. Those were his quotes, but several weeks does not bleed into the regular season, I don't believe. I think the Bengals will be just fine come week 1.
Staying with the quarterbacks here, just for a couple of questions, which of the rookie quarterbacks do you think is in the best landing spot to have success this season?
Oh, man. I think Bryce Young, I love the coaching staff that he's with, and he's the most NFL ready right now. You look what he did at Alabama as a pure pocket passer, the way he processes in the pocket and reads defenses. I really think he's the most mature NFL-ready quarterback. If I had to pick a quarterback who had the biggest potential, I would say Anthony Richardson for the Indianapolis Colts. But right now, as a rookie, the most NFL-ready, Bryce Young, certainly.
Do you get a long leash to develop if you're Anthony Richardson? I mean, it seems like today more than ever, results are expected immediately.
I believe you do. You look at that Colts roster, and the cupboards are pretty bare, especially if you don't have Jonathan Taylor on the roster. So you need a lot of solid, good skill players at your disposal. And the Indianapolis Colts don't really have that outside of Jonathan Taylor, of a couple decent receivers. Especially at Pittman, but overall they really don't have a lot of offensive firepower. So I do think with situations like with the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts, they'll give those quarterbacks a longer leash.
And as it relates to Russell Wilson, what do you expect from him this season after such a disappointing year?
Well, Sean Payton is talking so much, I expect that the Denver Broncos are going to have a resurgent type season there. I don't think things are going to get any worse for Russell Wilson. He really hit rock bottom as a quarterback last year. It was his career worst season. So you have one of the best coaches in the National Football League, a coach who's won a Super Bowl, who knows what he's doing, who knows how to play an offensive system with a smaller type quarterback, which you look what all the success he had with Drew Brees. I do think Russell Wilson is going to have a bounce-back season. The problem is with the Denver Broncos is, though, they're in a division that's one of the best in football. You have the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who have a stranglehold on a division with winning 7 straight AFC West titles, and then Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers are a force to be reckoned with as well. So the Denver Broncos could be fighting for third place in the AFC West.
How do you read what Sean Payton is doing, taking aim at Nathaniel Hackett, drawing the ire of Aaron Rodgers, talking and talking and talking in a division, like you said, that is so incredibly difficult? What do you think is behind that?
Yeah, shout out to my colleague Jared Bell, who got the exclusive from Sean Payton. But, I really did not like his comments. Yes, they were honest. But when you look at it, he needs to worry about his own situation and what he has going on in Denver, and really not look about what happened in the past. You don't say that publicly. You maybe discuss it behind closed doors with the coaching staff and the teammates. But he really threw another coach under the bus, and I didn't really think that was appropriate for that scenario and just type of coach that Sean Payton is. A lot of coaches, young coaches, look up to him. He's been successful in the league, so you don't really have to knock another coach down to elevate yourself. Everybody knows Sean Payton is a really good coach, and everybody knows he has a lot of work to do in Denver, and we know it was a mess last year. We can look, everybody knows what happened on the field with Russell Wilson struggling with that offense, the worst in the National Football League. You don't have to say it publicly what we already know. So it was really ill-advised comments, and now he puts a lot of pressure on himself to turn things around, because if Nathaniel Hackett and the previous regime was so bad, so we now expect you to elevate the Denver Broncos even more now, because you just threw the previous coaching staff by the wayside and just talked about how terrible they were.
And people here in New York now are salivating over a Week 5 matchup between the Broncos and the Jets, because love him or hate him, everybody is just entertained by Aaron Rodgers' response to those comments. People that live in New York, Tyler, think that the Jets might do something special, that they might be pretty good this season. I think there's a little bit of a swagger there led by Rodgers, who is taking some of these young, talented players under his wing. How do you read what the Jets could do this year? Do you think playoffs are possible for them? Is it possible they win their division?
Yeah, when you look at the Jets roster, they really do not have many holes. They already have a very good defense. Now you put Aaron Rodgers to go with that offense, and Garrett Wilson, the reigning offensive rookie of the year. I can see them winning the AFC East. It's going to be tough. The Buffalo Bills, they're definitely going to be in the mix. The Miami Dolphins have had an excellent offseason. Tua can stay healthy. They'll be a contender in that division. I think the New York Jets, they're right up there. It's playoffs or bust. I definitely expect the playoffs for the New York Jets. I don't know if they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills, though, in the AFC East. I think the Jets and the Bills, they're the front runners, but I would have to give the edge for the division to the Bills.
Lots of pressure on Robert Saleh this season, too. Tyler Dragon, thanks so much for being with us, taking us around the league, discussing headlines. Before we let you go, anything you're working on for USA Today that you would want to let people know about?
Yeah, so I'm traveling to back to Los Angeles. I'm at the NABJ convention right now, but I have some features on the Los Angeles Chargers and the Rams that are coming up. I'll be at their training camps, and they have a joint practice the Chargers do with the Saints. So I'm really excited to talk to Derek Carr and the Saints and see what they have cooking in New Orleans as well.
Amazing. Enjoy NABJ, and we'll circle back with you after those pieces are written if we can to get the latest on what's going on out in LA. Tyler Dragon, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.